Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm glad to have you on the call today. This is Dr. Steve Bornfeld, and this is another installment of our programs to help you make better and wiser decisions in your business. Today, we're going to visit a very important topic in your ability to grow your business, which is your social media and your website. In other words, what image you send out to the world and how you can attract new business and how you can make new business come to you. A valid topic, and hopefully with the help of our expert, we can elucidate and shed some light on this area. So today we have Cassandra Parsons with me. Cassandra is an expert online and internet in all areas of internet and social media and all digital areas. She is working with a company called VisiSites since inception, and she's going to grant us her time to help teach you a few more nuggets for your success. So welcome, Cassandra.
Thank you very much, Steve. I'm glad to be here.
So let's start from the beginning. Let's kind of intimate how things have changed. So, as you know, Cassandra, first we had yellow page books. Then we had all kinds of coupons as a way of reaching out to the public. Then websites came along, and most of them were ineffective. Nowadays, most people have more effective websites, but there are many, many other tools that are available these days that, if used, will drive more clients to your business, and this is what the bottom line is about. So let's review how consumers find a veterinary practice these days.
Well, it's great that you mentioned that. It's an area that's really developed a lot as technology has developed as well. So as you mentioned, you have your website as one of those avenues, and what we refer to that as is the organic listings that come up when someone is putting a search in on Google, for example. Then we also have advertisements, so that's things like pay-per-click advertising or AdWords. You have your social media, you have reviews, directories where people can look up by their area, and then there's email marketing and blogging. So with all those platforms, you can see there's a lot of different ways that someone can find a business. So I personally like to use reviews, and you, Dr. Kornfeld, might tend to look at the advertisements that you see. Everyone uses them in a different way.
So correct me if I'm wrong. These days, when somebody is looking for a business, a service or a business provider online, isn't it true that the first thing they do is they go to a reputation website, and only then do they go to the website? Maybe social media first and then the website?
Well, not necessarily, actually. Really, when you look at the most effective ways that people will find business for a website, looking at the numbers that come through for that, really organic listings still remain the most successful as far as producing results or producing those conversions for people. But really, it depends on the area that you're in and how the people in that area work, for which area is going to be the most important or effective for you. So you have to kind of look at all the different ways that people can find your business and test different ones, figure out what works best for your area and where you can bring the most business in.
Okay, so and about putting a website together, there are so many ways to put a website together these days. You can do it yourself. You can buy a custom-made website. You can get a website which is like a cookie-cutter website. So can you please walk us through the process for somebody who's either trying to, I guess these days, trying to improve results from their website? What's a good way to do so?
Well, really, so you mentioned you have the sort of do-it-yourself approach with the website where you can build your own. You have the cookie cutters, and then you have the full custom where you have everything, specific to you. And the big advantage of using a company where they can do your website for you as opposed to you trying to do it yourself is that way, you're spending time or the people in your office are spending time doing what you do best. We want the doctors to be able to focus on diagnosing and medicating patients, really, rather than diagnosing and medicating your online marketing strategy. So really, if you're using a company, they're looking at a lot more than just the visual aspects of the website. So we're looking at things like your search engine optimization and the keywords that work or that are searched most often in your area. So a majority of marketing companies out there will even have that sort of template style website you mentioned, like the cookie cutter website. And then there will be a client login where you can make your own edits. But what we tend to see with that is there will be everything consistency in the typography, or not understanding how many words you should have on a page, or when to use your geographic location on the page so that you can help with your rankings. So there's a lot that is really going into it, and when you have a company that can do it for you, it becomes their job to keep up with the latest SEO tactics and to ensure that the techniques they're using are really bringing results and not hurting you. So that way you have all your online bases covered, and then that way you can focus on the clients that are already in the doors right in front of you.
Okay. So the basic components of a website, Cassandra, are the text, then we have artwork, and then we have images. Is there anything else that is unseen that can help with results in the website that you can talk about?
Yes, there are all kinds of things. That's kind of where you have this balancing act between the visual and the nuts and bolts of the website. So you mentioned you have the text, you have the pictures. In some cases, you have video. And all of those things that are on the front end of the website, there are things going into them in the back end that are helping with your optimization. So when I use the word optimization, I'm referring to speed optimization and the keywords that are helping with your rankings for the site. So all of those techniques are based off of algorithms that these search engines use that are checking for things like word count and readability. And then the pictures that you have will have what's called a meta tag description attached to it that is another way to target your keywords. Along with the videos, will have the same thing, the keyword descriptions attached to them. And those algorithms and requirements that the search engines have are constantly changing, constantly updating. So that optimization is really a never-ending project because we're staying on top of that and updating every website to make sure that the systems that are in place are still working. So even though you might not see those on the front end, you will see the results of the effort that are going into it. There's actually a really great example of that is we see very often a direct connection between using optimized videos enhancing your organic rankings. So YouTube is a Google asset. Google owns the YouTube platform. So when you use educational videos, for instance, that are on YouTube on your website, you have this Google asset, which they like to see because they know it's for client education. You have that video optimized for, let's use pet dentistry as an example. You have that video optimized for pet dentistry, and it's placed on a page that is talking about pet dentistry, whether it's an article or it's talking about your services. And you will also want to have pictures on that page that have those descriptions that are that have the keywords for pet dentistry. So you're using all of these resources hand in hand accordingly to really bring up your rankings and produce a page that not only looks good, but is really bringing in business for you as well.
So is there an easy way to know how many people visit your website and how many are new and how many are repeat visitors?
There are different ways that you can go about doing that. Google offers something called Google Analytics. They have great tools for you where you can attach certain, what would be called snippets of code, basically, to the pages that you want to track. And then with that code, the tools on Google allow you to keep track of the things you said, like how many new visitors, how many repeat visitors, and things like that. That is actually a great asset that can really help you learn a lot more and fine-tune your website, but it can be pretty time-consuming. So that is another case where it really helps to have a team that's doing this for you so that you're not spending every evening, watching all these numbers.
Okay. And so these days, most people have smartphones, and the smartphones have access to the Internet. Most people look at their smartphone first before they look at their desktop. And so is having a website is enough for a mobile device, or there's got to be another phase or another facet of the website so it is mobile friendly? And how can you make a website mobile friendly?
There are, so as you mentioned, there's such a high number of people that use their mobile device before they use the desktop. There's actually Google just this year came out with a statement saying that more Google searches that are conducted take place on mobile devices than on computers now. And of those consumers that are using their mobile device to go onto these websites and do this research, 27% of them have said that they will just leave the site if it's not mobile friendly. So they're not just leaving the site and saying, okay, I'm going to call the practice instead. They're leaving the site and generally going to a competitor's site, looking for that website that's easy to navigate. So really, in that aspect, you want to have something, again, that's easy for the consumer to look at, to go through. And so what that means is the text legible on the small screens for them? Does the website load quickly on their device and it's easy to navigate? And the biggest, most important thing that I want everyone listening to check their website for is that if you're looking at a website on your cell phone, is there a phone number that can be seen right away without scrolling? Because that's the big thing about mobile users is if they're looking at a website on their phone, it's usually because they want to call. So on that aspect of it, you really need to have the mobile websites for the consumer end, but then also Google has made it so that their algorithms include things that make your website rank higher organically if it's mobile friendly. And that's more of a recent thing because Google sees that this is the direction the internet is going. So they've really made it so that mobile websites are not an option anymore because people want to use what's most convenient, and if they have the internet in their pocket, that's what they're going to use.
So this is it's such an important point, which I'd like to kind of expand on it a moment. Your website is not just a poster. Your website is not just a postcard you send people. Your website is an important tool for your success. Therefore, it makes sense that you want to maximize its potential. Building a website that is not mobile friendly, these days, as you've said, more people view websites on their mobile devices. If your website is not easily visible and searchable on a mobile device, you're losing a lot of potential. And so that is something. Yeah. Any comments on this?
Yes, actually, you kind of touched on if it's not easy for people to find your website even. There's actually, as part of those updates that Google made for their algorithms, we actually just recently saw a round of penalties basically that went out to different website owners because they didn't have a responsive site. So basically what that means is your organic rankings can drop if you don't have that site. So these are people that may have been in the top 5 on the first page of Google, and because their website didn't function properly on mobile devices, they've now been dropped to the second page. So it's really become something where, as you said, everyone's using it. You have to kind of work with that and make sure that it can still be interactive on these smaller screens.
It's funny, Cassandra, just yesterday I had a meeting with one of my clients, and we discussed how to leverage our website, how to make it more successful, to bring more business. And she had this belief, or maybe it is not a belief, that if you want to make your website more successful, you need to purchase specific words, or what they call AdWords. And she said that to her knowledge, you're going to have to spend at least $2,000 a month on AdWords to make your website very high. So can you kind of help clarify this point and maybe talk a little bit about what AdWords are?
Yes, definitely. First, so that our listeners know what we're talking about, AdWords is the Google advertising platform for what's known as pay-per-click advertising. And to discuss it, or to comment on what your client said, I would actually be curious to know what area she's in, because that's one of the things with pay-per-click advertising is the way that it works is you have this advertisement you create that is shown, when people type in certain searches because you've connected your ad to certain keywords that you want it to come up for. And it may be shown to let's say 100 users, but you only pay for that ad once someone actually clicks on it. And that's where the cost comes in the area that you're searching for, the keywords that you want to show your ad for is what will affect the budget. But to start it off, you don't necessarily have to spend this grand amount of money on it. AdWords is something where you can start smaller. We're talking just a few $100s really, or a couple $100s, and go up from there as you start to see success from it. But it really does, AdWords has one of the biggest return on investments that we see in online marketing, and not only the biggest return on investment, but the fastest. We have a good example actually is we have a client who began using AdWords to reach out to communities that he wasn't ranking organically for on his website, but he wanted to start to reach out, further away from his practice. And within 1 week, he started seeing new business from his AdWords campaign. And then we have another client as well who their entire practice was brand new. So they had started building their online presence with us from the ground up, and we had them start AdWords right away because we knew that will bring results a little bit faster while you're working on the optimization and getting that to really start rolling. So even now, I think it's been about 6 months or so since that started, they still see a majority of their business coming in from AdWords. So we're talking at least 15 online leads a week, not including the leads that are going straight to their phone in the office. And they're not spending the $2,000 a month on it. I believe their budget is within a few $100s. So that's the great thing about these pay-per-click advertisements is it's really up to you how much you want to invest in it to see how much you want to get back from it.
So in other words, you decide on a budget and you go with that, right?
Yep, exactly. And what we see with a lot of people is because it works so quickly and it's so effective, they'll start with a certain amount and they say, okay, I really like it. Let's go up a little bit. And you can slowly grow this. You don't have to spend your whole budget on it all at once.
So maybe just briefly, Cassandra, if one wants to do AdWords themselves, what do they need to go about identifying the right words to purchase for people per click?
Well, so there's a few things that go into advertising, and the great thing about doing AdWords with Google is they provide a lot of tools for you to build the ad and make sure that it will work well for you. You need to make sure that you have this, the attention-grabbing statement that's going to get people to click on your ad. Another huge thing is we always make sure that people are using 2 different ads for one targeted group. This is because you kind of want to use a compare and contrast with it because one is going to perform better. So you can watch your analytics that Google provides for about a month and you figure out, okay, ad A is working better, so I'm going to get rid of ad B and try a new one. And you just keep fine-tuning over and over until you really have it down. The biggest thing with AdWords, though, is the targeting. So when I said, you have 2 different ads for one ad group, the ad group is those keywords and those areas, so basically the type of people that you're targeting with your ad. And you have a lot of flexibility with that. You have the ability to target either by specific cities, or you can do a radius from your location. You do tend to get a further reach with the radius, so I would recommend that to people that would like to try doing it themselves. That's because let's say you have a practice and you're in the north end of the city that you're in. If you select the city that you're in as your targeting area, you might be missing out on people that are in the city right next door to you, but they're only 2 miles away, whereas the people on the south end of the city that you're in are 5 miles away. So that's a great example of how to use the targeting. And then with the keywords that you mentioned, you can look at the areas that you're targeting for and figure out, this is a tool that Google provides, you can figure out which keywords are searched most often in that area. And then a huge tool to use when you're using AdWords that people might not necessarily know what it is Google allows you to select negative keywords as well. So what that is keywords that you don't want to come up for. So if you are targeting your ad for veterinarian, vet, and animal hospital as an example, because those are the 3 big ones, you want to make sure that the negative keywords you have are government and war, because you don't want someone typing in war vet and then your ad coming up for a veterinarian. Free is a big one. And then also words like assistant and careers, because you don't want your ad popping up for people who are looking for a job in the industry. So those are a lot of ways that you can kind of fine tune it. I will say a lot of our we have a few clients that have tried to do AdWords on their own in the past, and we do hear a lot of people saying it's a little too time consuming. So you can use either a company that specializes in AdWords, or a lot of marketing companies offer plans where they will manage it for you.
Perfect. Very good. Good stuff. So next point are review platforms. What are they, and how can they help bring better results from the website?
So when we say review platforms, that's things like Yelp or Google Reviews are the 2 really big ones. And unfortunately, I actually see a lot of people that feel like there's nothing that they can do with review platforms because they're viewed as a consumer-controlled tool, because people can say pretty much whatever they want on there. But really, if you use your reviews as a chance to interact with the clients who are leaving comments on there, you can really start to make your reviews work for you. So when I say using them to interact, you want to respond to all of the reviews that are left, both positive and negative ones. It doesn't have to be super time consuming. It can be, a quick note to say thank you for taking the time to leave your review, or acknowledging the opinion that they left. But if you really take the time to make that connection with the clients who you already have, you're showing the potential clients that are viewing these reviews and your responses to them that you really have this investment in your business. And because it's a very service-based business, your online interaction with these clients is a really great way to showcase the service that you offer before they're even in your door. Another huge thing with reviews as far as Google reviews go that a lot of people don't know is that they can actually play a big role in your local SEO, because your Google Reviews account is connected with your Google Places, so where your business shows up on Google Maps. So the more positive reviews and ratings that you have with Google Reviews, the higher you will rank when people search for your business by area, because they pull people with better reviews higher on those maps.
Excellent. Very good. So let's take a moment to shift to the other extremely important component of online presence, namely social media. What is the role of social media in driving business to the website and to the practice, and how does social media impact SEO ranking?
The relationship between social media and websites can be a really cool thing because they really play off of each other. So you use your website to send clients to your social media, to keep in touch with you even after they have become a client. And then you can also use the reviews that you have on Facebook, for instance, because they have the review platform, events that you post or articles that you share on social media to drive people to your website for more information. So in that aspect, you're creating more traffic on your website. Also, there's something that happened just this year. So it's a really new thing. It's a little bit of insider information for the listeners. In February of this year, Twitter announced a partnership with Google. So what that means is Google now has the ability to index tweets that are posted for keywords very similar to how your website is indexed for keywords. So what that can do is that if someone is typing in a certain search that you want to come up for, so let's use pet dental again as an example. If you've been active on Twitter using those keywords either as hashtags or if you're using them in those precious few 140 characters that Twitter allows you, your tweets can come up as part of that search result now. So for the people who are Twitter users, if they click on that and they then open your Twitter account and you have a link back to your website, now you have another avenue that's feeding people to your business. So as I said, it's a newer thing. It's going to take a little bit of time to integrate because even those of us in the marketing industry aren't completely sure how far Google wants to take it, but we do know that it's going to provide this great sort of instant result capability. So if you have a pet dental special that you're offering for the month and you go onto your Twitter account and every day or every week you're reminding people, come in for this great teeth cleaning offer that we have going on right now, and someone goes on to search for pet dental or pet teeth cleaning, they will then have the ability to see those, and then they go to your Twitter page, they click to go to your website, and it goes, to where they have all this information now about the special that you're offering. So even though it's a newer thing, you really can start to kind of get the ball rolling now for your business, so then by the time the effects of this new partnership that they have are in full swing, you're really already using it to your advantage.
Excellent. So again, very briefly, Cassandra, how often should a social media be updated and how time-consuming is it?
It can actually be something that happens, pretty quickly if you're sharing, articles that you're already reading and you think, my clients can benefit from this. It doesn't have to be something that takes a lot of time. We generally say you want to post 3 to 4 times a week. Another huge thing is to pay attention to the time of day that you're posting. So the high traffic hours basically for when people are going on social media, so you'll get more of that interaction. We're talking about lunchtime for your area, so when people are on their lunch breaks, they go to scroll social media, early evening, and first thing in the morning when people are waking up and getting going, and then also the weekends. So you want to make sure that when you are posting, you're posting at these times that, you're going to have people see your posts the most. And that's the beauty, too, of a lot of social media platforms is they allow you to schedule your posts. So let's say you don't have time to go on every day and be interacting with people, but you have a few things that you want to share. You can schedule that out ahead of time. And then, you say, okay, Sunday night is the night that I sit down and I plan out all of these posts for the week. And then that way you're only spending one night a week actually laying all of this out, but you still have this very active presence that's working for you.
Wonderful. So the other component of online presence and success with online tools are email marketing or client education and blogging. What do you feel about these tools, and is there a good structure to follow when using them?
Well, they can have a very strong place in your marketing strategy. It's just a different role than the tools that we've discussed so far. So generally when our clients want to use email marketing or blogging in this industry, we really encourage them to use it to develop a relationship with their existing clients and to bolster their client retention. So I know, Steve, this is something that you really work on with your clients, is really improving that client retention. So this is a great tool for that. You can use email marketing to send out newsletters, to send out seasonal information or care tips, or if you're writing a blog, you can use it for healthcare information or maybe a new method of treatment that your practice is offering. And when you do that, you're becoming a really trusted resource for your clients, so you're becoming something that they don't want to lose. And then when they're interacting with you and either, using the information from the emails that you're sending or commenting on the blogs that you're posting, you're just building that relationship. And then really briefly on the flip side with blogging, it can be used to develop SEO. It just has to be done in a very strategic way. So the Cliff Notes version of that would be you want to make sure your blog is written in very easy to read sentences. Google likes short readability. You want to make sure you're using 1 or 2 pictures, and whatever keyword you're trying to come up for, you want to have that in your title, in a subheading, and a few times throughout the body of the article. So when we're consulting with clients who want to start a blog, we will kind of discuss the keywords that they want to show up for and then go over how to write the blog to assist that keyword and where to place the keyword phrase throughout the blog.
Excellent. Good information. So to bring the discussion to a close, what are the 2 or 3 most important points that you want people to take home with them when they listen to this recording?
I think the most important thing is I want people to make sure that they have a team working for them. And when I say that, I don't mean a team of people. I mean a team of online platforms that are working for your business. So go down the checklist in your head of what you have and what you've done for your online presence, and make sure you have at least 3 out of the 6 areas that I mentioned. And I want people to promise me that one of those is a website. So you have 2 besides that, and that's going to be your icing on the cake. And it can be any combination. A good way that we kind of like to look at it is if your online marketing tools are, I'm a football person, so we'll say football team, and you have your website, and it's serving as your quarterback. You have this awesome quarterback, but he has to have someone to throw to for the skills to be useful. And you have your team going out against all these other teams, and you have your strong players, you have your weak players, but it's more than one person. So you build the team, you get it to really work together and play off of each other, and you do that gradually. So just to kind of close it out, a great example of that is a client that we have in Brooklyn, which is a big city. And he really built out his presence over a period of time. He started with a simple website. Now their website has over 20 landing pages that target the entire area of Brooklyn, New York. They're investing in AdWords. They've built out reviews on Google and Yelp, and they're seeing really great business coming in as a result. So you don't have to spend your max budget all in one go to develop your online presence. You just build it slowly. You work on one area at a time, and as you start to see that return on investment, you build more and more and you add to it.
Very good. So I'm sure there's a lot more information there where this information came from, Cassandra. So if anybody wants to get in touch with you outside the recording and ask you their important questions, what's the best way to do so?
They can reach us by email, and then someone on our team, either me or some other people that work with our clients, can get in touch right away. The email would be info, I-N-F-O, @visisites.com. So VisiSites is V as in Victor, I, Z as in Zebra I, and then sites like websites.
Okay, and if anybody wants to call?
The phone number is 760-658-9303. And when they dial through, they're going to want to click 2 for the support department, and we will be able to answer any questions that they have.
Very well. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for your exhaustive information. And I want to thank everyone for listening. As usual, I like to close this recording with the invitation that if you want to see results, do something. So thank you, Cassandra, and to all of you, until next time, have a good day.